Meteors. Streaks of light. Every day, thousands of small space rocks enter Earth's atmosphere. Together, these meteoroids weigh more than 9 buses. But don't worry, most space rocks never hit the ground. They burn up as they fall through the atmosphere. And that creates the fiery streaks of light scientists call meteors. Meteor meanings. Atmosphere. The layer of gases that surrounds a planet. Meteoroid. A small rocky object in space or the atmosphere. Meteor. The streak of light produced as a meteoroid burns up in the atmosphere. If you watch the sky for an hour on a clear night, you will probably see 2 or 3 meteors. This time-lapse photo captured 6 meteors in just 8 minutes. This illustration shows a close-up view of small meteoroids beginning to glow as they enter Earth's atmosphere. Some people call meteors shooting stars or falling stars, but a meteor is very different from a star. Most stars are so far away that we could never visit them. They burn bright for billions of years. Most of the meteors we see are about 60 miles away, and their glow lasts just a few seconds. Most of the meteoroids that enter Earth's atmosphere are smaller than this pea. They burn up long before they reach our planet's surface. But some meteoroids are much larger. Why was the meteor unhappy? He knew he'd never be a star. Why do meteors light up the night sky? Think about it like this. On cold days, you can warm your hands by rubbing them together. You create heat because a force called friction is at work. Meteor meaning. Friction. A force that resists the motion between 2 objects that are in contact with one another. Friction can be created in Earth's atmosphere too. Some meteoroids cruise toward our planet at more than 150,000 miles an hour. As a space rock rubs against gases in the atmosphere, it creates heat. All that heat makes it glow. Down to Earth. Not all meteoroids burn up completely as they plummet toward Earth. The instant a space rock lands, scientists call it a meteorite. Most meteorites are no bigger than a grain of sand, but some are as big as a boulder. Meteor meaning. Meteorite. A space rock that lands on Earth, another planet, or a moon. Weird but true. Around 500 meteorites land on Earth each year, but only about 5 of them are ever identified as space rocks. What's in a name? A small rocky object traveling through space is called a meteoroid. When it enters Earth's atmosphere, it produces a streak of light called a meteor. If it strikes our planet's surface, we call it a meteorite. Scientists divide meteorites into 3 main groups. Stony meteorites. These are the most common meteorites on Earth, but they're hard to spot. They look very similar to Earth rocks. Weird but true. Some groups of early peoples used the iron in meteorites to make knife blades. Iron meteorites. These meteorites are shiny, so it's easy to tell that they're from out of this world. They're made mostly of 2 metals, iron and nickel. Stony iron meteorites. These meteorites are also easy to spot, but they aren't very common. They're chunky mixtures of metal and rock. Meteorite Hall of Fame. Check out these record-setting meteorites. Hoba. Where it landed, Namibia. Hoba is the largest known meteorite in the world. It's about 9 feet long, 9 feet wide, and 3 feet tall. A farmer found the meteorite while he was plowing a field. A tourist center was opened at the site where the Hoba meteorite was found. Nogata. Where it landed, Nogata, Japan. What's this space rock's claim to fame? It's the remains of the oldest meteorite strike that can be dated exactly. It fell on May 19th, 861. That's more than 1,150 years ago. Gibeon. Where it landed, Namibia. Gibeon created more rubble than any other meteorite when it hit the ground. Pieces of the space rock are spread over an area almost as large as the state of Maryland, USA. Cape York. Where it landed, Greenland. When this meteorite struck Earth, it broke into several giant pieces. You can see the largest chunk, which weighs more than 4 elephants, at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, USA. It's the biggest meteorite on display in a museum. Out of this world. Where do meteoroids come from? To find out, you'll need to climb into a spacesuit and get ready for a long, long journey. We're headed into space. Earth's closest planetary neighbors are Venus and Mars. The asteroid belt, a ring of medium-sized rocky objects, orbits the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. Earth is part of a solar system. The Sun is at the center of our solar system, and other objects orbit it. Meteor meanings. Solar system. A star and everything that orbits it. Orbit. To move in a path around another object, such as a star. Asteroid. A space rock that's larger than a meteoroid, but smaller than a planet. The Sun. Some planets, a bunch of asteroids. Does our solar system end there? Not by a long shot. The planets are surrounded by a huge area of space called the Kuiper belt. And that's not all. A region known as the scattered disk overlaps part of the Kuiper belt, and it stretches far, far out into space. At the very edge of our solar system is an even bigger area called the Oort cloud. The top part of this illustration shows a close-up view of the center of our solar system. The bottom part shows its position within the Oort cloud. The Kuiper belt is a giant disk that surrounds the planets. The Oort cloud is a ball-shaped region at the edges of our solar system. Scientists don't know enough about the scattered disk to draw a picture of it. What did the Sun say to the Oort cloud? You're far out. Becoming a meteoroid. The asteroid belt, Kuiper belt, scattered disk, and Oort cloud all contain huge numbers of orbiting objects. At least 2 million rocky asteroids orbit in the asteroid belt. Many others share an orbit with Jupiter or Mars. The Kuiper belt contains at least 1 trillion small icy objects, and the Oort cloud may contain as many as 2 trillion. Sometimes those orbiting objects break apart, and some of the pieces become meteoroids that eventually enter Earth's atmosphere. Weird but true. Most objects in space are round, but asteroids come in all kinds of shapes. Most asteroids speed through space at more than 50,000 miles an hour, so crashes can cause a lot of damage. From asteroid to meteoroid. As asteroids move through space, they crash into each other like bumper cars. Small bits break off and become meteoroids. Most of the time, these new meteoroids stay in the same orbit as the asteroid they came from. But when a meteoroid does get knocked out of its orbit, it may be attracted by the gravity of a nearby planet, such as Earth. Meteor meaning: gravity, a force that pulls objects toward the center of a planet or other body. Inside an asteroid. Almost all of the meteorites people find on Earth come from asteroids. Iron meteorites come from the core of asteroids. Stony meteorites come from the surface of asteroids. Stony iron meteorites come from the area between an asteroid's rocky surface and its metal core. What did the asteroid say to the meteoroid? You're a chip off the old block. From comet to meteoroid. Meteoroids also come from the small objects in the Kuiper belt, scattered disk, and Oort cloud. These objects have rocky cores and icy surfaces. When they get knocked out of these regions and travel toward the sun, they give off gas and dust. Scientists call them comets. Meteor meaning: comet, a chunk of ice, frozen gases, rock, and dust that orbits the sun. A comet up close. As the sun's gravity pulls a comet toward the center of our solar system, the icy ball heats up and begins to change. Nucleus. Gases and dust escape from the comet's hard, solid nucleus. Coma. Some gases and dust form a cloud-like coma around the nucleus. They glow brightly as they reflect sunlight. Dust tail. Some of the dust trails out behind the nucleus. It forms a long, thick tail. Gas tail. Some of the gases form a thinner tail. What did the Oort cloud say to the comet? You're a real knockout. A comet's nucleus keeps on orbiting the sun, but material from its long dust tail gets left behind. This material becomes tiny meteoroids. Most of the meteoroids that enter Earth's atmosphere come from comets. As Earth orbits the sun, it follows the same path year after year. And about a dozen times during that journey, it passes through streams of leftover dust from various comets. For a few nights, hundreds of dusty bits enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up. The result is a beautiful display we call a meteor shower. Meteor meaning: meteor shower. Many meteors coming from the same area of the sky within a short period of time. This illustration shows what you might see over the course of several minutes during a meteor shower. Weird but true. Meteoroids made of comet dust are so small and fragile that they burn up completely before they hit Earth. This is why we never find meteorites that come from comets. What do comets do when they get dirty? They take a meteor shower. 8 cool things about space rocks. 1. About 12,000 dust-sized meteoroids enter Earth's atmosphere each night. 2. Many meteors look orangey red or white to viewers on Earth, but some look green or yellow. 3. A meteor that appears brighter than Venus is called a fireball. 4. Meteorites are usually named after the place where they are found. 5. More meteors can be seen in the hours before sunrise than in the hours after sunset. 6. The meteoroid dust trail left by a comet can be more than 100 million miles long. 7. The rock and metal in most meteorites are about 4.6 billion years old. 8. Bulletproof material helps protect the International Space Station from meteoroids. Strike 2. Most of the meteorites that land on Earth come directly from asteroids. But asteroids are also the force behind meteorites that come from the Moon and Mars. Meteorites from the Moon. When two asteroids crash, one of them may get knocked out of its orbit. And if its new path crosses the Moon's orbit, boom! Holes called craters mark the spots where asteroids have hit the Moon. During these strikes, bits of the Moon fly into space and become meteoroids. Sometimes those rocky bits enter Earth's atmosphere and land on our planet. Scientists have discovered at least 85 meteorites made of moon rock. Meteorites from Mars. Like the Moon, Mars has been struck by many asteroids, and some of those strikes produced meteoroids. Some of the meteoroids are still orbiting close to Mars, but others were knocked out of orbit. This photograph of Mars shows craters on its surface. Over time, gravity and other forces moved some Martian meteoroids into Earth's atmosphere. Many of the meteoroids burned up, but a few were large enough to land on Earth as meteorites. So far, scientists have identified 124 meteorites from Mars. Martian meteorites aren't as easy to find as you might expect. The red rock usually darkens as it travels through Earth's atmosphere. Struck from above. Most of Earth is covered with water, so many meteorites fall into the ocean. Some land in forests or deserts or other places where people don't live. But once in a while, a meteorite causes damage that people notice. Wethersfield meteorite. In 1982, Wanda and Robert Donahue of Wethersfield, Connecticut, USA, heard a strange thud in their living room and rushed to investigate. They couldn't explain the hole in the ceiling until they spotted a grapefruit-sized meteorite that had rolled under a piece of furniture. Peekskill meteorite. In 1992, Michelle Knapp was startled by a crash outside her home in Peekskill, New York, USA. When she ran outdoors, she discovered that a football-sized meteorite had struck her family's car. Lorton meteorite. In 2010, a meteorite surprised Dr. Frank Ciampi when it crashed into his office in Lorton, Virginia, USA. The fist-sized space rock is now on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C., USA. Buildings and cars are fairly large, so it's no surprise that we sometimes hear about meteorites hitting them. But has a space rock ever hit a person? Could a meteorite hit you? Yes. In fact, maybe one already has. Most meteorites are no bigger than a speck of dust. That means you wouldn't even notice if one plopped down on your head. What about bigger meteorites? Don't worry. Only about 10 people in the whole world have ever been struck by a meteorite large enough that they noticed, and none of them were seriously hurt. Sylacauga meteorite. In 1954, a grapefruit-sized meteorite smashed through a roof in Sylacauga, Alabama, USA. It bounced off a radio and hit Ann Hodges in the hip while she was taking a nap. She is the only person in the United States who has ever reported being hit by a meteorite. On the lookout. Many scientists spend their whole careers studying space rocks. Dr. Bill Cook head of NASA's Meteoroid Environment Office in Huntsville, Alabama, USA, tracks meteors as they zip across the night sky. Cook uses a network of 12 cameras in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, and New Mexico to shoot video of meteors on clear nights. Then he determines each meteor's speed, where it came from, and whether it might have produced a meteorite. What a cool job! Cook's video cameras capture black and white images of meteors. Color is then added to the images, as shown, to help the details stand out. The image on the left was created by combining several separate images. Meteorite hunt. Other scientists collect meteorites that have landed on the ground. Space rocks can fall anywhere on Earth, but they're easiest to find in two places: hot deserts and frigid Antarctica. Scientists can spot them on the plain tan sand or white ice. Every year, the National Science Foundation sends teams of scientists to search for meteorites in Antarctica. In the past 30 years, these teams have found more than 16,000 meteorites. This 4,800-pound meteorite was found in the Empty Quarter, a vast desert on the Arabian Peninsula. South Korean researchers collected this and other meteorites from a blue ice field in Antarctica in January 2012. Scientists aren't the only ones who spend time hunting for meteorites. So do lots of other people, including some curious kids. Would you like to find a meteorite near your home? Look for a rock that sticks easily to a magnet, seems heavier than other rocks its size, has a rough surface, indents that look like thumbprints, and/or lots of points and ridges. Many people look for years and never find a space rock, but you might get lucky. You could be the first person in your town to find a meteorite. If you think you've got one, ask the geology department at your local university. What a find! When Jansen Lyons of Rio Rancho, New Mexico, USA, was 10 years old, he read a book about meteorites and wanted to find one. After 2 years of hunting, he came across a rock with all the features of a stony meteorite. Was it really a space rock? You bet! Jansen's find was later confirmed by Dr. Carl Agee, a meteorite specialist who works at the University of New Mexico's Institute of Meteoritics. Jansen Lyons found this meteorite near his home when he was 12 years old. Scientists think it fell to Earth about 10,000 years ago. Be a quiz whiz. How much do you know about meteors, meteoroids, and meteorites? After reading this book, probably a lot. Take this quiz and find out. Answers are at the bottom of page 45. 1. Most meteors are about blank miles away. A. 6, B. 60, C. 600, D. 6,000. 2. A meteoroid that lands on Earth is called A. a meteorite, B. a meteor, C. an asteroid, D. a comet. 3. How many asteroids do scientists think are in the asteroid belt? A. At least 2,000. B. At least 2 million. C. At least 2 billion. D. At least 2 trillion. 4. Most of the meteoroids that enter Earth's atmosphere come from A. planets, B. comets, C. asteroids, D. moons. 5. Most of the meteorites people find on Earth come from A. Mars, B. the moon, C. asteroids, D. comets. 6. A meteorite is usually named after A. The person who found it, B. The museum where it is displayed, C. The place where it was found, D. The place where it came from. 7. A rock could be a meteorite if it A. Sticks easily to a magnet, B. Seems heavier than other rocks, C. Has a rough surface, indents, and/or lots of points and ridges, D. All of the above.